Have you ever felt like your spiritual fire was just gone? I'm about to get real with you. There was a time in my life when everything was right, or at least I thought I was doing everything was right. I was serving in church, working hard, praying, but something was terribly wrong. My spiritual life felt like a desert. No passion, no fire, just emptiness. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how spiritual burnout happens, why it's destroying your relationship with God, and give you a step-by-step roadmap to reignite your flame. And by the end of these next few minutes, you're going to understand why burnout is not your fault, the sneaky ways the enemy attacks your spiritual momentum, and the 3 game-changing strategies to rebuild your spiritual resilience. And don't worry, this isn't just another pray more generic video. This is a lifeline for anyone feeling spiritually exhausted. So I want to take you back to 2022. I had just moved from New York to Florida, and my world was falling apart. I had eviction notices that were showing up at my door. My finances were constantly under attack, and I was working nonstop. Salon, global ministry, local church, doing everything I thought I was supposed to do. But here's the brutal truth. I was working for God instead of connecting with God. My prayers felt like they were hitting the ceiling. When I prayed for myself, it felt forced, empty. But ironically, when I prayed for other people, they seemed to get breakthroughs. My passion for God had transformed from a blazing fire to a flickering, dying flame. See, what most people don't understand is that spiritual burnout is a strategic attack. And the enemy doesn't want to just tire you out. He wants to disconnect you from your source of power. And of course, you know that is God. Here are 3 game-changing tips to help you identify spiritual burnout. So tip number 1 is you need to know yourself. And I mean truly know yourself. Spiritual burnout is like a slow-moving virus. It does not happen overnight. It creeps in slowly and surely through constant prayer, procrastination. I'll pray later. Feeling spiritually, meh. Things of God don't move you like that anymore. Treating your relationship with God just like a checklist. While checklists are helpful and they keep us disciplined, it's just another obligation or a thing to do. And last, ignoring the warning signs. You gotta pay attention to when you realize that there's a little slip or sliding in your journey with Christ. I need you to think of a spiritual health check. Just like you notice symptoms before you get physically sick or a physical illness, your spirit sends signals. All right. So are you dreading prayer time? Like, I gotta pray, whether it's your personal life or even going to a ministry to pray. Are you feeling disconnected? Things that used to make you, zealous no longer make you zealous anymore. Or are you just going through the motions? Truth be told, these are your warning signs. And the moment you recognize them, you need to start to take back control. Tip number 2, distraction elimination. Let's get tactical about your distractions. And I mean brutally honest. What's stealing your spiritual focus? Something's got your focus. Is it financial stress, family pressure, social media scrolling, work overwhelm, or unresolved conflicts in your soul? That can be things like disappointment, regret, trauma, etc. But here's the hard truth. Distractions are not neutral. They are strategic weapons designed to pull you away from your spiritual purpose. Your job is to identify, isolate, and eliminate. This isn't about perfection, but it's about being intentional, going to God and figuring out how to discover those areas. Tip number 3, prioritize your spiritual nutrition. Here's a revolutionary concept. Treat your spiritual life like your natural or physical nutrition. Would you go weeks without eating? Obviously, unless you're praying. Without water? Same. Without oxygen? Probably not. Then why are you starving your spirit? Your spiritual man needs daily prayer, not just when you feel like it or not just when you're in desperation. You also need to make sure that you are consistently getting the word and you get the scriptures in you, whether it's through reading or listening to it audibly, because you know what I'm going to say? Faith comes by hearing. Also, continual, genuine connection with God, not just a religious performance, not just doing it in public for others to see, but it has to be genuine. And then, of course, moments of genuine, unfiltered worship. There's a power that comes forth with unfiltered worship. That means you're not, trying to be all composed. You're unfiltered. You're screaming hallelujah. You're crying tears. You're doing whatever it takes, but it's unfiltered. You're not trying to behave a certain way, but it's just you and God. And even if you're in public, that's the same way that you worship. This is your spiritual food. All right. And just like physical food, consistency is key. Consistently nourishing your spirit. And listen, here's something most people won't tell you, especially if you're an intercessor. You know what's the fastest route to spiritual burnout? Praying for everyone else while neglecting yourself. Sound familiar? You'll drop everything to pray for someone else, but your own spiritual tank is running on empty. That ends today. And just when you thought that was powerful, wait until you hear what's next. Remember how I just said that most intercessors are great at praying for everyone and everything else? Here's the breakthrough moment that changed everything for me. I had to realize that the same faith that I had to believe God for others, I had to use it on me. I had to use it on myself. Sometimes we can subconsciously think God will do things for others, but not us. I had to shift my mindset. And today I want you to shift yours too, intercessor. And I also had to prioritize secret place prayer time for myself. That's where God meets us. And you know what? You might be completely exhausted and feeling spiritually empty right now. But I need you to understand this. Your spiritual burnout isn't a punishment. Sometimes we think that we did something wrong, and sometimes it is, don't get me wrong, but if you haven't, your spiritual burnout is not a punishment. It's actually an invitation to stop performing. Just be you with God, the you He created you to be, not the you that everyone else or that you think everybody else wants you to be. And to start connecting. Plug in to God. The same things that you used to do when you were on fire for Him, sometimes you got to go back to doing that same thing. And then, of course, rebuild your relationship with God. What did you do before? What had you on fire before? Did you wake up any time that He told you to wake up? Did you go to sleep late? Did you meet Him in the park? Did you meet Him by the water? Did you meet Him in nature? Did you meet Him in your car? Go back to those same things and build your prayer life from the ground up. Sometimes there needs to be an excavation, a knocking down of what you thought was right. And listen, when you do that, when you meet God where you first met Him, when He was your first love, I promise you that flame will get on fire again. Sometimes it's as simple as going back to our first love, when you first met Him, when you first saw His face, when you first encountered those dreams and visions and those prayer burdens and all those things, when you first encountered. So I want you to do me a favor. If this video hit different for you, I want you to comment, first of all, what's your spiritual distraction right now? And I'm going to take time to pray for you. In my personal prayer time, when you write down what your distractions are, I'm going to lift those things up before the Lord. And then next, if you haven't, I want you to subscribe to this channel for more raw, unfiltered, spiritual breakthrough and prophetic content. And then lastly, when you click the description of this video, I want you to connect and find out about Virtual Prophetic Intercessors Academy. We're about to take prayer to the next level. And remember, your spiritual fire isn't lost. It is just waiting for you to fan those flames. Bye now.